As Trump fixates on vanity projects that only he seems to care about, we're advancing our housing bill to address issues Americans actually care about. As home ownership has gotten further and further out of the reach for working families, so is the American dream. It's every young family's dream to own their own home. So when they pay money, it builds equity, it builds a future for their retirement, for their kids. Instead of when you pay rent, the money just goes away. So people want home ownership. But now the median home buyer in America is 40 years old. The down payment is excruciating to many and puts housing out of reach for them.
Something interesting happens almost immediately in this speech. Chuck Schumer talks about housing costs, homeownership, and the American dream, but many people listening aren't evaluating his proposals yet. They're evaluating him. Look at the comments under almost any housing speech today and you see the same pattern. People aren't saying, "I disagree with this zoning provision," or "I prefer another financing mechanism." They're asking why these solutions are being proposed now. They want to know why affordability kept deteriorating until buying a first home now feels impossible for many younger families. That changes the entire hearing. Because once people stop debating policy details and start debating credibility, every proposal faces a much higher hurdle. The question becomes less about whether the bill sounds good and more about whether anyone still believes government can deliver what it's promising. If you enjoy political stories that go beyond the speech itself and examine why people react the way they do, subscribe to The Rebuttal, because sometimes the most revealing part of politics isn't what leaders say, it's how the public responds.
A record 242 cities in the U.S. now have typical starter homes valued at $1 million or more. Road to Housing helps put our country on the right track towards fixing the housing shortage that's driving up costs. The legislation starts to streamline the zoning bottlenecks that have slowed down construction from one end of the country to the other. The bill also supports new manufactured modular housing, as well as the conversion, something really important to New York and to me, the conversion of old office buildings into housing, so we can get more homes on the market.
Then another layer appears. Schumer mentions zoning rules, manufactured housing, office conversions, and institutional investors. That's a surprisingly broad list, and it points to something bigger. Housing has become one of those rare issues where almost everyone agrees there's a crisis but disagrees completely about why it exists. Some blame corporations buying homes, others blame restrictive building rules. Some point to inflation, immigration, interest rates, or decades of policy decisions. And when a problem has that many competing explanations, it creates another challenge. Every proposed solution automatically looks incomplete to somebody. That's why so many comments sound frustrated rather than hopeful. People hear promises and immediately ask for details because they no longer believe there is a simple fix. In a strange way, the complexity of the housing crisis may be part of why trust in institutions keeps eroding. People can see the problem clearly. What they can't see is who actually has the ability to solve it.
Road to Housing also stops institutional investors from squeezing American families out of the housing market. The road to housing is a strong start, but just the beginning. Democrats will continue to come up with innovative solutions to lower the cost of housing and all other necessities that working families need to achieve that American dream, which seems more out of reach than ever before because of this administration. We'll work with whomever it takes to end the affordability crisis. So congratulations to Senator Warren. Congratulations to the members of the Banking Committee for their leadership on this bill. And congratulations to all my colleagues on both sides of the aisle who supported it.
And this may be the line that changes the meaning of the entire speech. A strong start, but just the beginning. Politicians usually prefer announcing victories. This sounds more like an acknowledgement that even supporters of the bill understand how enormous the challenge has become. Because housing isn't merely about finding a place to live. Homeownership has long been tied to the idea that each generation can build more security than the last. When people start believing that milestone is moving permanently out of reach, something larger begins to happen. Frustration turns into cynicism. Cynicism turns into distrust, and eventually, People stop asking whether one policy will work and start asking whether the system itself still works. That's why the reactions to this hearing matter. The debate isn't really about one bill or one politician. It's about whether Americans still believe the future can be more attainable than the present. And if that's the question politics is moving toward, then the housing debate may only be the beginning. If you want more investigative documentaries that follow the hidden questions beneath political events, subscribe to The Rebuttal and join us for the next story.